What is going on, friends? Welcome on back to the Let's Play series. And man, thank you guys so much for the love and support you guys have been showing me on the first two episodes. Besides that though, I've spent episode 1 and 2 slowly transforming this cave from the barren, ugly cave it is to a beautiful, lush environment that is being created straight from my imagination. But today, I want to step out of the cave because there is a few things that I need to build that are going to take up way too much room inside of here. If we take a look over at the lake nearby, you can see that there's an island. Well, almost an island. I want to spend today's episode clearing out all the trees on this island, turning it into a massive farmland, and obviously giving it a lot of beautification. And as always, if you want to see more content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's try and get this video to 5,000 likes. I know it's a stretch, but I think it's doable. So this is the island, and it's a little bigger than I thought it was. And obviously it's an island, so I'm gonna need bridges connecting to it. Specifically two, one from the island to this piece of land, and then another one crossing the river, because our cave is up there. Oh boy, I have my work cut out for me, and it has to start raining. It's raining IRL and in-game right now. All right, well, I think I'm gonna start by clearing out all the trees on the island, just so I have an idea of what I'm working with. Once I started taking down tree by tree, that's when it really sunk in how big this island actually is. Which isn't a bad thing, that means I'm gonna have plenty of farmland. It just means this project's probably gonna take twice as long as I thought it would. Although it is nice that there is a bunch of trees because I don't need to go out and do any spruce wood collecting. Because there is plenty of 2x2 trees on this island, so hopefully I should end up with 5 to 6 stacks of wood, if not more. You know, last episode I was wondering if the foxes hunt fish, and I'm gonna assume so because there's a bunch of dead fish in the water. This guy is going to town. Oh yeah, look at him. Look at that. Let him go. Don't mind if I collect this stuff up, though. I mean, come on. It's free food. Oh, look at that. He has fish in his mouth. That is so cool. All right, back to chopping all these trees now. You know, I just realized that this isn't an island because there's some dirt connecting this piece of land with this piece of land. So if I just get rid of this, we officially have an island. Look at that. You know, I'm going to get rid of a little bit more than just that because I do want it to be wide enough so for the future I can build a bridge and I can also take boats underneath it. That should be good enough for now. I'll come back a little bit later and beautify it, and also probably widen it out a little bit more. Besides that, all of the trees have been taken care of now, and I'm starting to put together a plan of what I want this island to look like. Up on this raised piece of land, I think is where the farmhouse is gonna go, and then pretty much everywhere else is gonna be farmland. I am gonna collect up the sweet berries though, because I'm getting annoyed every time I get stuck in them. And also, they may not do a lot of damage to you, but man, it gives your armor a beating. Now, before I get started on actually placing in the fields on the island, I'm gonna need to build a few small ones because this is currently all the crops I have to my name, which clearly isn't enough. Oh, and by the way, this is how much wood I got from chopping all those trees down. Yeah, I know, it's a lot. So, grabbing my crops, I made my way down the mountain and found a solid piece of land to place in these tiny fields, and got to building. Now, I know this may seem a little wrong considering I'm gonna be building fields on the island, but I want to build these away from that so I can actually start working on the island and not having to worry about these little tiny fields, which will eventually be destroyed anyways. Although I didn't really think about the fact that I need to be near them for the crops to grow, so I'm gonna have to crank my simulation distance way up to make sure all of this stuff is doing good. Luckily, my computer can handle it. It's definitely bigger than what I needed it to be because this is all of my crops placed in. Luckily, there's plenty of room for the future once I start harvesting these crops. I just need to remember to keep checking on it. While I wait for the crops to grow, I do want to get started with the 2 bridges that need to connect these 2 pieces of land and those 2 pieces of land. One of these bridges is going to be much larger than the other, and I think I'm going to start with the bigger one just to get it over with. Luckily, last episode we spent quite a while getting an enchantment set up, so it makes this process go a whole lot quicker when I'm having to remove a lot of blocks. Luckily, the ground does have a lot of coarse dirt because I will be using that as my path block on the island, along with my pathway connecting back up to the cave. This won't be enough for the entire project, but it's a great start. Now that I got most of the land cleared out for now, I took a minute to set up a little template for this bridge. And I also smelted up a bunch of cobblestone into stone. Hopefully this is enough because it's really boring to watch it smelt. And I was also smart enough to bring my stone cutter with me. Come on, that deserves a like on the video. Okay, let's get to building. I decided to make my life a whole lot easier and just build this bridge straight. In the past, I normally add a little bit of a diagonal to them, but on this one, I wanted to keep it simple. Constructing it mainly of stone brick and little splotches of cobblestone. Right now, I'm not gonna put a roof over it, but in the future, when I have a little bit more wool, I do wanna come back and do that. I think the bridge does look really good, but adding that pop of color with wool will make it look a whole lot better. I'm also very happy with the size of it. I didn't want it to dwarf any of the other builds around it, or even the little bridge that's gonna be going next to it. One of my main goals with this world is to try and keep everything proportional to one another. In the past, I've started with really small homes and then built absolutely massive structures. And looking back on it, it doesn't make much sense when you take a look at it. Really, you guys just have to show up as I'm building my bridge. Okay, I have full iron armor, so I might be able to do this. I need the guy behind to shoot the guy with the banner. Okay. Oh, there he goes. He shot him. Come on, shoot him. Come on. Okay, I'm over this. I'm over this. I'm over this. I'm just gonna take this guy out. Oh my goodness, I'm taking damage. And then I have a cool idea. If I get the boat real quick and I swim by this guy. Come on, get in the boat. Okay, he's not getting in the boat. Come on, in the boat, in the boat, in the boat. Okay, got him in the boat. Perfect. Now, if I get in with him, I can just put him right in the middle of the lake and then swim away. Perfect. And now he's just trapped right out there. Oh, look, the fishes are saying hello. I wonder if he'll despawn. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of arrows. Okay, I was saying, I wonder if he despawns if he's stuck in a boat. I feel like he shouldn't, but for some reason, I feel like that's happened to me. Let me know down in the comments if he will despawn. And if he's going to, maybe I'll get a name tag and let you guys choose a name for him. After a little bit more work, the bridge is pretty much all finished up. You better not shoot me. There's a few more small things I do want to add, maybe like some leaves, a little bit more glow lichen, and obviously, like I said, a roof. But for now, I think this works. I can hear that. No, nope. Oh, he is so lucky I won't kill him right now. Oh, there's an arrow in the back of my head. Oh, there it is. It's in my shoulder. With that being said, I think it's time to get started on the second bridge. This one is going to be significantly smaller and also made out of wood. I did say it was going to be a whole lot smaller, but that doesn't mean that it can't look really good. I honestly think I like this bridge better than that one. You know, all bridges are equal. Besides that, I have not checked on the crops in quite a while, which I probably should, because if they're fully grown in, that's doing me nothing. And that's not a good sign. I can't tell if they're growing or not. I mean, some of them have grown, but I feel like they should have grown more than this, because it's been like 45 minutes to an hour since I placed this in. Actually, maybe even longer. Okay, I'm going to give it another like 15 minutes and come check on it again, because I am going to be a whole lot closer because I need to go up to the cave. Oh, look at that. They're becoming friends. It would be so funny if the fox just like killed him right now, you know, because pillagers suck, but it is kind of cool to see. And we can also see both the bridges from here. Before I can get started on any more building, I need to go collect up a little bit of resources. I did have a bunch of oak, but I used it all on the mine entrance. I don't know how like 6 stacks of oak logs went into this, but they've disappeared, so I need more. Now, before I make my way over to the oak forest, I do want to craft some shears so I can collect up some oak leaves because I love using them for detailing. Okay, the bee in the boat now has another friend, which also means we now have 2 pillagers in boats. Okay, well, I guess having an extra one's okay. I do need to craft a new boat now. 1 boat acquired. I hear a skeleton. Oh, where'd that come from? He must be in the cave. I am very interested to make my way over to the forest because I placed down like 10 times the amount of saplings as there were trees. So I'm interested to see if it's like totally overgrown or if nothing's grown in at all. I guess that answers our question. Looks like I'm gonna be taking another massive chunk out of this forest. Yeah, you guys didn't really get a good look at this last episode, but there's a lot of saplings. While I work on my lumberjack skills, here's a very satisfying time lapse of all the saplings growing back in. And this isn't even half of them. Hopefully this should be enough logs for that farmhouse. I did want to collect up a good amount of birch because I do plan on using it. One other thing I do want to grab while I'm over here is a little bit of kelp. It's kind of amazing. From breaking like 3 kelp stems, I got over a stack and a half. Not too bad. Okay, this is good growth. Definitely seeing a difference here. With some resources collected, I can move on to the next step of building up this island, which is gonna be a little bit of terraforming. I need to get rid of some of these really high spots and then build up some of these lower spots. Taking a quick break from terraforming, I decided to come out to the nearby jungle to test a theory. Last episode in the comments, one of you guys told me that if I have fortune on my axe, I will get more seeds when I harvest this stuff. And I wanted to put that to the test. Yep, that's what I'm looking for right there. I just got 2 seeds from harvesting 1 tall grass. Yeah, I'm gonna spend a little while doing this so I don't have to wait as long for all my other crops to grow in. Whoever that was that left that comment, you are the absolute best. I just got 8 stacks of wheat seeds like it was nothing. Sadly, I can't do that with carrots and potatoes. Well, it works, but it just doesn't grow like tall grass does. Okay, time for like a 3,000 block journey home. Now, before I get to placing in all of these fields on this island, I think I want to start with building the main structure first, just because I want to make sure to leave enough room for it. And if I build it first, then it's not anything to worry about. I have spent a little while kind of planning out which area is going to be which field. I think down here is going to be my carrots because I don't need a huge carrot field. Up here on this big plateau is going to be my wheat field. And same with this little area over here is also going to be wheat. In the back, I think I'm going to do some more carrots. And then on the front right here is going to be potatoes. And then all of this podzol, that's all going to be sugarcane. Oh, and down here on this little area is going to be some more potatoes. With that being said, let's get to building this house. I wasn't super happy with how this part of the structure turned out, so I decided to change some of the blocks out with brown mushroom, and then also add in some jungle planks for a little bit of texture. Although now I'm looking for some easy coal to harvest, because I really don't want to go all the way back up to the cave, and I need to make a few campfires. Now, why do I need campfires, you may ask? Well, obviously we got to put a chimney on this house, and I'm gonna make it out of copper. Hopefully it should give the roof a little bit more pop. And then also while I'm up here, I do want to add in a few windows. Please don't tell me that lines up with another window. No, it does not. Perfect. So by turning some stairs like that, putting myself a glass pane and then a slab, we have a little window. And you know, I'm gonna do another one right here. Yeah, I like this spot. I'm also gonna do a few along the back. And for this one, I think I'm gonna do it up by the slabs, yeah. And then instead of using a slab on top of the pane, I'm gonna use a trapdoor for this one. And actually, I think I'm gonna switch them all out to trapdoors. Now let's make our way back down to the ground and check out how this looks. I've been using a boat to take a step back because there isn't much land to see from. Okay, yeah, I like how that's looking. I feel like maybe it could use a little bit more mushroom blocks, but I don't really know where to add them in. Besides the roof, I also think it would be pretty cool if we put a water mill right here, and I'm gonna need to build up a little standing platform. Can do something a little bit like that. Ooh, I do want it to preferably go in the water, so I'm gonna need to make it just a bit bigger. That should do the trick, so let's just get rid of all of this dirt. And you know, I think I'm actually gonna make this a double wide, a little bit something like this, and then using my fence post, I can now come back through and fill it in a little bit. And just like that, we have a finished water wheel, which just adds a little bit more detail to this build. I also need to put windows right there. Just a little something like that. And now it's time to just go around and do a little bit of final detailing. Having rooted dirt in the game is probably one of my favorite things they've introduced. It makes it so nice when you're using coarse dirt because you have something to texture it with. And obviously you don't want to use too much because you can't come by the stuff super easily. Besides that, I want to take a break from building this thing and go check out our crops. Hopefully they've grown in a little more from last time I checked in a little bit. And I am doing what you guys told me, which is to use my fortune axe to harvest all this stuff. I don't think that's fully grown in yet. Let's check. Nope, definitely wasn't. Now I could sit here and AFK and wait for all the stuff to grow in, but that means I need to stay relatively close by. So instead, I'm just gonna harvest it all up. Yep, that's a lot of wasted time, but whatever. And I'm just gonna start planting in part of the fields over on the island. And for the seeds, well, that doesn't really matter because I have so many of them now. I'm just gonna start with setting up a very temporary field right here, just so I can get started with these crops growing in. Eventually, this is solely just gonna become one of my carrot fields, but for now, I'm gonna place the potatoes in too. And while I wait for these crops to grow up, I'm gonna get started on the wheat field. Although first, I kind of have a cool idea to do a little bridge right here with the pathway going underneath it. A little bit something like that. And this side's just gonna be an extended part of the wheat field. Anytime I build a field, I always go for the exact same look, mainly because I like it a lot. Obviously, it starts with placing the field in itself, and then I like to go around the edges and put some leaves. And for the other side of that small bridge, I think I might actually put a windmill there instead of more wheat fields. Of course, I get to building and I run out of oak leaves, and the oak forest happens to be like really far away. Okay, quick trip, and I've arrived. Don't mind if I take your guys' wool. Don't worry, you'll grow back. Okay, walk away from me. I'm hoping that there's some beehives over here that I can grab, because if you place them near your crops, it supposedly makes them grow quicker. And I do have a silk touch shovel, so I should be able to harvest it. Okay, time to collect some leaves. Oh my goodness, finally I found at least a bee. I've been looking for a hive for like 15 minutes now and I have not come across a single one. Okay, let's see if we can find this guy's home. He's going this way. Oh, there it is. Beehive right there. Now, of course, I didn't bring a campfire. No, definitely didn't. So I'm gonna need to smelt up some charcoal so I can make one. One crafting table and then one furnace. So I can put that in there with that. And all of that there's. Can I make 2 campfires? Oh, I can make 2. Okay, hopefully we can find another beehive, because I'll put that there, and then if I can find another, I can come back when the sun's setting, because that means all the bees will be within the hives. You know, actually, I think I just watched all 3 of them go into here, so I'm just gonna break that, and then also use my silk touch on the campfire so I don't have to recraft it. Was there another bee up in there? Did I just see another bee? Oh, yep, there is right there. Yep, there's another hive. Is there any more in the surrounding area? I ended up collecting 3 beehives in total that each have 2 bees in them, and obviously plenty of oak leaves and birch leaves. So now I'm gonna make the long journey back home. Now that we're back home, it is time to go full steam ahead to get this project finished up, because it's roughly taken me 20 days so far, which is way too many. So while the crops finish growing in so I can replant them, I'm gonna get started on this windmill that's going right about here. In my honest opinion, I think building windmills is one of the hardest things to do in Minecraft. Mainly building the blades. It is so hard to be creative with it and make it look good. Besides that, I knew I wanted the main structure to look pretty similar to the house off to the right side, so I used the exact same block palette. Except instead of using stone brick on the base, I decided to use cobblestone and tuff. I think this is gonna add a little bit more variety to the buildings, and I have a bunch of it, so why not use it? Once I had the main building complete, I took a step back and realized it was a little too tall. It was looking unproportional, so I decided to bring it all down 1 block and lower the roof. From there, it was time to start on the blades. Luckily for me, there's a space age thing called Google, so I went on Google and looked up some blades. I think the one I ended up picking is perfect. It doesn't involve using any wool, while instead it uses birch. This took me a good 20 minutes just to get this thing built. I don't think there's any good way to do it besides just scaffolding with dirt. I guess if you use scaffolding, it might be better. Well, and started to expand it over to here. Hopefully once all this stuff's fully grown in, I'll have enough to place in every single one of the fields, but it's still growing. So in the meantime, I want to make a little walkway coming over to this one, because right now it looks a little bit unfinished. That is 1 field complete, so it's on to the next one. Except this one's gonna be a little bit more work because I have some terraforming to do, as you can see. With the potatoes now finished up, I'm gonna get started on this sugarcane field, which is pretty much just gonna be this entire area running along the water. When it comes to sugarcane placement, there's a very specific pattern in order to fill up every single block with a piece of sugarcane. It's much easier to do when you're on a perfectly flat piece of land with no other water sources around it. For me, I'm up against the river, so it's a little difficult. Once I had all the sugarcane placed in, I decided to do a little bit of pathway work, along with building a stairwell going up to the wheat field and the top of the house. Now, when it comes to this location right here, I was gonna put in an extended wheat farm, but instead I think I might do a little apiary, since earlier we did collect up these 3 beehives. But before I can do so, I'm gonna need to smelt up a little bit of glass and also sleep. And a few minutes later, I have some white glass and also a little bit of bone meal so I can place it in and do some more detailing. And all the bone meal's gone just like that. I really need to find a better solution. Anyways, let's get started on the apiary. I think that there's But for now, I am pretty happy with how it's turned out. In the future, I do want to do like a fully automated bee farm below this. And honestly, I have some really big plans besides that for this island. There's a lot of room underneath this that I can mine out, and I think it would be cool if we did like a full-blown seed vault and had all of our automatic farms hidden below this island. Oh yeah, besides that, I also got the crops placed in on this backfield, and I got some more bone meal, so I was able to use that. Although I am completely out of time for today's episode. So anything else we're gonna have to work on in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.